Tuesday is the day in Easthampton. Easthampton voters are going to decide whether or not to borrow money to build a new school for nearly 1,000 elementary and middle school students. They're going to shutter 4 existing schools, old schools actually. The Pepin Elementary, built in 1912, the Center School in 1902, and the Maple School in 1896. And all of it is going to be they're going to tear down at some point the old Brook Elementary School on Park Street and then build a new school on that site. That's the proposal anyway. This is a $109.3 million project, $59.7 million financed through local property taxes. Easthampton Mayor Nicole LaChapelle is with us, and I would guess that you're firmly in favor of this project.
I am firmly in favor of this project. PK-8 school, it's the next step for Easthampton. We are an up-and-coming city. We are vibrant business-wise and for families, and Easthampton's going to stand behind their families, their business. We're going to send that message. We're business-ready and family-friendly.
What is the condition of these schools? I mean, my grandkids, I should say, have gone through the entire system. Mm-hmm. The Maple School I'm very familiar with, and my God, it's like from another era. And the Pepin School, too, I'm familiar with from basketball games and stuff like that. What is going on with these schools? I mean, can you fix them? I mean, a lot of people said, why don't you fix the schools first before you build a new one? What's going on?
Mm-hmm. Well, you can't fix them. You can't bring them up to current standards of just learning expectations, but also just accessibility. I mean, we have students that are having reading classes and speech and language sessions in closets in Maple Street. The multi-layers of stairs and small platforms make it inaccessible to get from one part of the school to the others. I mean, the quality of teaching in these schools are top-notch, and the quality of the physical condition, the physical plan, are exact opposite. Our students and our teachers deserve more. Pepin, again, has really complicated geography inside, getting from the cafeteria that's also indoor play space to the office. It's hard to have a group of students get from one point to the other without a significant transition. And making sure that every student, every parent can actually use our schools.
I know there's not a lot of organized opposition to this proposal, but there are people that are speaking out, especially the senior population, speaking out about, man, they're going to take a hit here in taxes. What do you say about that?
So we worked with our Board of Assessors and actually increased our senior exemption from $700 to $1,000, and then decreased the age that you can apply for that exemption from 70 to 65. Both myself and the City Council are very aware of what we're looking at for a cost of this project. But more importantly, the cost if we do not do this project, it's hard to calculate what exactly happens. These schools, I mean, we're looking at, $59 million in reimbursement from the state. And if we decided not to do this project, that money doesn't stay on the table, it goes away. And the burden of educating our students in even barely decent physical plants is all on the city. We can't leave the money on the table, not for the good of the town or the students. This is a great option for us to go forward and bring all of our students into modern educational facilities.
Didn't the state also come down and say that you have to do something about Maple Street?
Yes, and the project started back, in 2009, looking at Maple Street. That's what got us into the school building process. And after doing several design studies, I mean, this is a planned process. Our city has looked at this for years. This existing building committee has started looking at Maple Street 2.5 years ago, and it's from a cross-section of the community. If we don't address Maple Street School, it's not as if we can decide we're going out of the education business. That cost is borne by the city alone. The state allowed us to expand our vision and go to the pre-K-8 model because of the age of the other schools, but most importantly, the repair of Maple Street, it was just overly burdensome and not a good use of Commonwealth dollars, and we weren't going to end up with a school that our students deserve and our teachers deserve. We were going to end up with an old school with lots of new Band-Aids.
Plus, there's no place to play, really, when you speak of where the Pepin is located in the Maple Street.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just pavement, really.
And in April, there was a sinkhole.
No.
So I got a letter from the Girl Scout troop, and they wrote very convincingly persuaded me to say, we need to do something about the sinkhole in the playground at Maple Street School. And I smiled as I read the letter and walked over there the next day, and there was a sinkhole. and DPW and got right on it and fixed it that vacation. But I mean, you're talking about, elementary kids playing on blacktop in the middle of a neighborhood that, has very little green space, is very congested. And then in front of their playscape is a sinkhole.
That would make soccer very interesting, though.
I don't know. It's a reverse soccer, right? I mean,
yeah, right. Where's the goalie? He's down there. He's way down there.
Yeah.
School choice. I know that the ridiculous way that the state funds schools in to begin with. You lose, millions of dollars every year in school choice, people that go to other towns.
Oh, over $2 million.
Your own daughter did this, as I recall.
She did. My daughter never went to Easthampton Public Schools. She chartered and then choiced out. The school system wasn't a good match for her and my family. And I think that this dialogue that's out there around people who don't use the public schools or do is an old one. It's, I'm going to date myself a little bit, but the rapper Jay-Z, don't hate the player, hate the game. And, so let's play the game that really helps Western Mass that we have control of. And that's to build the best possible school we can with the best possible curriculum. The schools are the last piece of this, and charter and choice students will come back. We saw it happen with the high school. It'll happen again. But we need to take control of our financial narrative where we can, and this is a great way to do it.
Nicole LaChapelle is with us, the mayor of Easthampton. We're talking about the vote that's happening on Tuesday, the 22nd, about building a new school and consolidating all the elementary schools into one place where the Whitebrook Middle School is right now. Can we talk about this in terms of safety? Everybody's talking about the school shootings now, and you never expect that to happen here, but people in other places never expect it to happen there. Right. This is going to have a lot of safety issues in this school, this new one to be built. Well,
because the process has been so long and rigorous, and our public safety, both fire and police, have been involved in the design, the new school really addresses the safety concerns that we know and we're looking at today and looked at historically, while taking the best parts of our safety plan in the current school. We looked at, different entrances and exits, how to break up traffic coming in and out of the school. So folks are coming into the new school, just like they are current schools, feeling safe. But certainly it was a concern.
Let's take a break here, Mayor, and come back. There are some concerns. There's concerns about traffic, number one, going in and out of that place, which can be treacherous, going in and out of the Whitebrook. And also basketball, youth basketball. There's some concerns about that, too. My son is a coach in the youth basketball program. More with Mayor Nicole LaChapelle in just a few here on 96.9 WHMP. One of Nicole LaChapelle's favorite groups right there, the Lonesome Brothers, leading the way right here. The mayor of Easthampton is with us, and we're talking about the proposal to build a new school in Easthampton and consolidate all the elementary schools into one place where the Whitebrook Middle School now stands. There's some questions and some concerns from constituents. I'm very familiar with the entrance into the Whitebrook and the entrance out.
Yes.
The traffic is going to be an issue, it would seem. And that could be treacherous, especially if you're coming out of that long driveway and then you're going to make that left turn. You've got some things in the works here, I understand.
We do. One, when we looked at the project and we ended up at that location, we knew that the impact of 700 more students at that location clearly would affect traffic. Couple of the points here, or reality here, is those students, cars, and transportation, the way they get to school and from school, they're already on the roads of Easthampton. And we actually have several congestion points in the morning around schools. Maple Street School, Center Pepin, very congested, very dangerous intersections between the hours of 8 o'clock and 9. Going to one location on Park Street, the left-hand turn, there is a rate. There is definitely a wait that's concerning. We're looking through the school building committee at solutions, taking a look at turn lanes, maybe traffic roundabouts, but also looking at how many more students will be on buses, and there'll be fewer individual cars, and the timing, staggering the times of different grades, and what we can do with busing to help alleviate the congestion. But the reality is, wherever we put this school in the city, we were going to have this problem, and we're looking at it. We need to get a little more detail on the schematic design, but we're already looking.
My son, Brendan, is a basketball coach, a youth basketball coach in the city. People are very concerned about that as well. The rumor has it that it's only going to be one gym at this new place. Pepin, for instance, is a place where a lot of youth basketball takes place. So people are concerned about that they're going to lose an outlet for basketball.
Right.
What do you think?
So the The gym space in the new school is large. We end up with more square footage of gym for these grades than we currently have. And the square footage in this gym can be broken up for different uses at any given time. I mean, the second part here is on the 22nd, when we pass this new school, we start immediately looking at reuse. And what happens to Pepin School in that gym is a part of a large community discussion.
So these buildings aren't going to be condemned or anything?
They're not going to be condemned. I mean, they'll go to surplus back to the city from the school, and we'll have 2 years to look at our different solutions. It's not as if we pass the school on Tuesday and then the school's closed down. And folks have a lot of ideas. I mean, I'll put together a reuse committee and work with the property committee with City Council and take a look at what we can do. But we certainly hear, and I hear all the time, the importance of that gym.
Another concern, and this is a concern mostly from parents, this is going to be pre-K through 8.
Yes.
It's going to be all in one place. People are very concerned about that, especially parents, to have little kids in with the 7th and 8th graders. There's concerns that they say their babies grow up too quick when they're exposed to that kind of language and the way that the older kids operate. I know this is a concern for parents. Sure. What do you have to say about that?
If you look at the actual layout of the school, and that's on Easthampton Public Schools website under School Project, you'll see that there are very discrete communities within this overall physical plant. So you have your middle schoolers. They have their own branch wing of the school, as do the upper elementary and then lower elementary. There's a separate entrance for middle school and the elementary pre-K. And the common space that I'm talking about with the gym is sectioned off very discreetly. So to get to gym, you don't have a first grader walking through, say, 5th grade classrooms to get to your gym or to have a meal. It's very separate, but the overall tone and feel, if you look at the schematic online, it's very homey. It's a community. I mean, you feel like when you're walking through the 3D sketches of that building, that you're in a very wholesome school community that you're part of, regardless of your age. There are different doors outside for all the different grades. So there's not at any point where you're having a cluster of grades. Research will tell you around the pre-K 8, you really do build a community of learners, but also learning professionals. Professional development as well as cross-grade or concept learning happens more naturally and just more in a pre-K 8 facility.
Some people said that this Whitebrook school should have lasted forever with the masonry work and all that. Is it the way it was built? Is it just outdated? Is that part of this?
I mean, the idea and technology in the 70s when Whitebrook was built, dramatically different than now. Schools have different lengths. I mean, we're building a 50-year school, at least 50 years, and going forward with that technology. Whitebrook and how it was laid out or how it was built, I think it was built for as long as it could go. I mean, the building has done its job for the city.
Mm-hmm. When will this happen? Say this passes. When are the polls open, by the way, on Tuesday?
8.
8, okay. 8 it goes all day, 8 to 8.
All day.
Yeah. Say it passes. When will this build? And who's in charge of it? Who did the design and all that? And when would this construction start?
We would start pre-construction in August of 2019, if all goes well. And then we would open for 2021.
Mm-hmm. Nicole LaChapelle has been with us, the mayor of Easthampton, and the vote to build a new school, which is always a big thing, and a burden on taxpayers as well. There's no question about that.
Sure, it affects the tax rate. Our tax rate is reasonable in comparison to the communities around us. I think that is notable. And will continue to be so. Over the last couple of decades, we are a fiscally mindful community and will continue to do so. But the money we leave on the table and what that tax burden will look like and what our property values will look like in 5 years if we do not pass the school on Tuesday will be substantial and should not lightly be put aside.
30 seconds. Make your pitch now, Mayor.
Oh, we have lost road to kick this can on education down. There is no more landscape. It is time now. Easthampton's future is forward, and it's a yes on Tuesday.
Mayor Nicole LaChapelle from Easthampton. And the vote again is on Tuesday.
All day. Go to your regular polling place.